Hello children. So now let's start this poem Friends and Flatterers by William Shakespeare for grade 7 for this academic year ICSE syllabus. So Friends and Flatterers. So this is a poem in which William Shakespeare, one of the most famous playwright of all the times. So he in this poem he distinguished the difference between a real friend and a pseudo friend. So what I mean by pseudo friend is who's not really a true friend of you. Yes. So in this poem, Shakespeare says, everyone who would flatter you will not stand by you when you really need them. Only a true friend will stand with you in your good and bad. So this poem, Friends and Flatterers, teaches the reader, that is you and me, the readers like you and me, about who is a true friend and who is a false friend. And he also tells that there are some friends who are true to you and they will stand by you during your difficult times, and there are some friends who just use you and they never stand with you when they really need them. So this poem really has a very good lesson for us to learn from that. So now let's start from stanza 1. Every one that flatters thee is no friend in misery. Words are easy like the wind, faithful friends are hard to find. Now let's see the meaning for these. So flatterer is a person who's not a true friend of you. He just flatters. He speaks to you in a buttery language just to impress you. He just make a false praise so that he can get benefits from you. So everyone that flatters thee. So what is thee? It's a Shakespeare in English. The most of Shakespearean poems or writings will have words like thee, thy, wills, thou, hath. So these are the olden Shakespeare in English. So because this poem is written by Shakespeare, we have certain kinds of words in this poem. So here, thee means you. Flatterers means praising falsely. And misery, what do you mean by misery? Misery is some discomfort or some sadness that you have, your bad times. Everyone that flatters thee is no friend in misery. So this line tells us that the person who just flatters you, they are not your true friend, and they will not stand with you when you are in some discomfort, when you are in a misery. These kind of people, they will not stand beside you. They will just leave you and go away. They will just walk away. And these kind of flatterers, they will not stand beside you in your discomfort or in your bad times. Words are easy like the wind. Faithful friends are hard to find. So in these two lines, what the poet is trying to convey as is, see, it is easy to impress one by using some flattering or false words. We can just speak whatever we wish and we can impress any kind of person very easily. After all, the words are just like wind. So because the words are just like wind, we can speak whatever we think. But it is hard to find a faithful friend. So what the poet is trying to tell us, we can speak false words to our friend, we can just butter them and we can impress them. But these words are easy like wind. But at the same time, finding a faithful friend is not as easy as these words spoken to him. So finding a truthful friend is very difficult. So when we see this first line, you just check whether do we have any rhyming words. The, misery, wind, find. Yes. So the rhymes with misery. The misery. So it is A. Wind, find. So wind rhymes with find. So B and B. So the rhyming scheme for first stanza is A, B, B. And as we know, if a stanza consists of 4 lines, we call them as quatrain. So we'll call them as quatrain. So this is the 4-line stanza. So we call them as quatrain. And again, to discuss about the literary device used in this stanza, that is the figure of speech. There is no figures of speech in the first 2 lines. And in the third line, words are easy like the wind. So the poet is making a comparison of words or like wind. The words are compared with wind, and this direct comparison we call them as simile. And next, faithful friends are hard to find. So there is a repetition of sound. So faithful friends are hard to find. So again here we have faithful. The two sound, it is repeated. So the consonant F is repeated again. So it is an alliteration. We can also tell them as consonants. So now let's start stanza 2. Every man will be thy friend, whilst thou hast wherewith to spend. But if store of crowns be scant, no man shall supply thy want. So before going deep into the explanation, I'll just give a gist of this paragraph. So what the poet conveys here is these false friends, these flatterers, okay, so these false friends will be with you as long as you have money to spend. That too, the money you have the money to spend on them. But if your wealth is gone, so if all your wealth, that is your money, is gone, and if you are in want, no one will come to help you. So that is what in para 2 the poet tries to convey us. So now by line explanation. Every man will be thy friend. So thy means your. So every man will be your friend, whilst thou hast wherewith to spend. So whilst means while, though means you, have wherewith. So here this word wherewith refers to the money, the wealth you have to spend. So the overall message from these two lines is every man will be your friend while you have money to spend on them. So only when you are having money to spend on them, they will be your friend. But if store of crown be scant. So here what the poet is trying to convey is if the store of crown means if the store of crown refers to the amount of money you have. So if the amount of money you have be scant, to scan means you have no more money. So when the amount of money or the wealth you have is reduced, no man shall supply thy want. So no one will come forward to help you or to fulfill your needs. So that is the line by line explanation for this. And now coming to the rhyming scheme. So friend rhyme with spend. So C. Scant rhymes with want. D. So the rhyming scheme for stanza 2 is C. D. Stanza 3. If that one be prodigal, bountiful they will him call, and with such like flattering, pity but he were a king. So the overall understanding from this stanza is when a person is ready to spend more money on his friend will call him generous, and they will also feel sorry that he is not a king. So line by line explanation. If that one be prodigal, if the friend is ready to spend more money on others freely, others will call him as bountiful. That is, he's so generous, he's so kind. So this is the word they used to call him. And in addition to this, and with such like flattering, so in addition to calling him as kind and generous, they also flatter him more, saying that I feel very sorry that you are not a king. So pity, but he were a king. So what these flatterers will say, in addition to calling them as generous and kind, so only then they will get more money from him, right? So in addition to that, they also tell that I'm feeling very sorry for him because he's not a king. Fine. So now to discuss about the rhyming scheme, prodigals go with call. So E. Flattering, king. F. So the rhyming scheme of this stanza is E and F. And to discuss about the poetic device used here we have a new term of figures of speech, and we call them as inversion. So what is inversion? I'll explain you that first. So there are some sentence form in how we have to form that. But to bring this rhyming scheme, these poets will interchange the words. See in second line, bountiful they will call him. This is how we should write. So this is how we formally used to write. We will write bountiful they will call him. But here to bring a rhyming with prodigal, the poet is twisting the words. He has interchanged the word. So instead of writing bountiful they will call him, he has written bountiful they will him call. So this kind of interchanging is called as inversion. Fine. So this is stanza 3.